Okay, time to go big. This is what it's all about. Now we're gonna use, in the go big section, we use all the techniques we've learned up to date. The first thing, I gotta tell you, it's time for a foodie freak out. We're gonna do a tomato confit. Some people call it the slow roasted tomato. And tomato confit, you know, it's not a traditional confit. It's not cooked in its own fat because tomatoes don't have any fat. We're gonna cut the stem cells. We're gonna cut the stem cells out,
Get those out too.
of the tomato, and then we're gonna, just running the knife around where the stem is the way to pull it out. Then you'll see the little point where the flower would have been on the tomato originally. We're gonna, that little spot on the bottom, the little dimple, we're gonna make an X across that because that's gonna make it easier to peel. Now we're gonna drop them into boiling water, and you know, a really ripe tomato is gonna peel about 10 seconds after you drop it in. The peel will literally melt away. A Roma tomato takes a little more time, probably like about 20 seconds. We're gonna let those guys roll around a little bit. And so as the tomatoes come out, we'll drop them into the ice water. Craig, why don't you go ahead and do that? Here's a couple that we peeled before. We're gonna let them cool, and that shocking will help release the skin from the flesh of the tomato. But you can see I'm just grabbing the skin from the edge of wherever I made the cut, and I'm just peeling it off. Now this one's fairly easy, but it's not totally melting away. It's not quite hot enough out here in California to have a really, really ripe tomato. I did want to use local ones, but you'll see I'm just peeling the skin down. What we're gonna do is a lot like the other confit, a little sugar, a little salt, some flavors and seasonings, and then we're gonna cook it very, very slowly. So what I'm gonna do with these tomatoes is just quarter them, and I'm gonna put them into this pan. Got a little bit of herb and olive oil in here. So when you have the tomatoes like this, you're just gonna do a little salt, again, a little sprinkle of sugar, just a tiny bit, like just a pinch on each one. And then a little bit of pepper, not too much. And then we're gonna use a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil. And these are gonna be another thing where you can put them in and then head out for a little session, pick up the kids from school, go for a skate, like whatever you wanna do. You're gonna put them in the oven, about 275, and they're gonna cook for a total of about 3 hours, sometimes 4. Once you get the tomatoes in there, you can turn it off right away. You want to have it hot enough so it begins the moisture release, but then turn it down right away. And then what we'll do is once an hour, every hour and a half, you'll take some of that olive oil from the cooking process and baste it over the top of them. Okay, back from the surf session again. Now we've basted these 2 or 3 times, and we actually took a still shot in the process. So you'll actually see a still shot from every hour of this process. But we can get a nice close-up on these tomatoes. You can see how they've lost a lot of their juice. They've shrunken down. They look a little bit like a sun-dried tomato. Yep. You can see the inside seeds here. This, when we toss it with the pasta and the chicken leg confit, is gonna make a beautiful, sumptuous, delicious pasta. Okay, and the next step in the Go Big production is gonna be to actually roast these chicken breasts. Now you could have, if you wanted to the day before, you could do a marinade like we did, either on the confit or on the grilled from the basic move or the step up. Craig, you know what I'm going to do though for this main course is a really simple. I've got a beautiful, you know, rosy organic chicken here. I'm going to go with just au natural, like just the salt and pepper, and then we'll throw a little herbs in when we're roasting it. Okay. So I'm again with the pepper mill. If you want to gather just a little bit of each herb for me, Craig, I'm going to put a little black pepper and salt on the skin side, and then we're also going to do it on the side that was on the bone. Now you can maybe even get a hint of the smoke and the heat coming off of this pan, and when I put this oil in here, you'll see even more. That's what we want. Excellent. Now when we go big, there's always going to be a number of factors going into the plate. So we have the roast chicken breast, we have the grilled asparagus, we have the tomato confit. We've boiled some pasta on the side. I'll talk about the pasta in a minute. What we're going to do is when we're finished searing this on both sides and we get it in the oven, we're going to bring it together. You can smell all those natural juices coming out.
Smells great.
And I'm going to get this, when I turn this over, We want that nice, deep golden brown, because that's not going to happen in the oven on its own.
No.
So once we just seal that other side, we'll pop it right in the oven. I'm feeling like we've got a nice sear on these. I'm going to pop them right in the oven here, and we'll come back to that in a little while. Okay, as always in the Go Big section, there are a lot of things to do, little tiny pieces. We're going to marinate the asparagus now. We're going to grill that for the main course. Craig, hand me the asparagus, and then we'll get a tray out. I'll show you the basic marinating. Okay, we're in California, and I got to tell you, California is the produce capital of the world. Like, we can eat beautiful produce year-round, but asparagus, especially along with artichokes and strawberries or lettuces, are a few of the things that we produce for the entire world. Sure. And the asparagus that we grow here comes from less than 100 miles away. It's amazingly beautiful. These are small ones. I actually prefer the big Macker asparagus, the big fat daddies, and I peel them down because they have the most beautiful asparagus flavor, and the inside is so tender. Now, we don't need to lose too much of the asparagus, because this young tender stuff, the upside doesn't get very tough down here, so you can use almost the whole thing. We're just going to lose this bottom couple of inches here. So I'm just going to crunch this garlic and just do a quick fine chop. Now, you'll notice with knife work, I always make a chop one direction and make little sticks, and then I go back the other direction and cut across those sticks. If you just take the time to arrange the thing you're cutting and go and alternate the way that you go through the little stack, you can get a much more finely chopped, even product more quickly. Now, I'm going to put a little lemon peel. What you do is you just take your peeler and run it over the outside of the lemon. Now, the funny thing is, that's basically what a zester is going to take off. If you have a lot of that white stuff on the inside, you can scrape with your knife to get that off. Some of that might be bitter, but this is actually just ready to go.
Nicely peeled.
Now again, I'm going to run my knife along the length of it to give me some nice long pieces, and I'm going to turn those long pieces sideways and go right down the line.
Basic knife skills.
It really is basic, and when you're cutting things, every single item, every single produce item will tell you the best way to take it apart. And as we go through lesson by lesson on Knives and Fire TV, every single episode will have knife skills and little techniques that will really, really, really make your life easier. I'm just going to strip a couple of sprigs here. I'm going to toss a little olive oil, some salt and pepper, and then it's off to the loading dock for some grilling. So I've got my marjoram. Really not much to do with that except run the knife through it once. Again, we don't want pieces to be too small when we're going on to a grill marinade, because they will burn so quickly there won't be any flavor left. So you want to have it, a little bit coarse. Now I'm going to throw this on. I've got my handy dandy old style pepper mill. Again, any pepper mill will do. I'm going to just sprinkle a little pepper on those guys. I've got my salt mill. Then we're going to do a little bit of olive oil on that, and we're ready to rock. Again, I'm going to use extra virgin just to get that big flavor for the marinade action, Just get your hands in there. All right, to the loading dock.
To the loading dock we go.
So I'm going to lay this asparagus out here. Now with a hibachi grill, you have the danger of it falling off the sides. So if that happens, don't worry. If your patio's clean enough, just pick it right back up. I'm going to sprinkle the extra garlic, few extra pieces on here from the marinade. This whole process will take just about 2 minutes. I'm going to start flipping them over. Now you can either flip them in a group like this, and they might get tossed around on the floor a little bit. Oh, there we go. Or if you have bigger asparagus or you're more patient, you can turn them around like this one at a time. You can see the skin of the asparagus is blistering just a bit. That's what we want to see. Okay, another minute's gone by here. We're going to get these asparagus off the grill and go in and finish our Go Big preparations for this week. And you can see how fresh and crisp they still are. You don't need to cook everything to soft and squishy, just till just right.